This week, I'll be reading the lowest and the highest rated books on my March TBR. The lowest rated book on my monthly TBR is actually a book of the month choice of January of this year, and it is Anatomy of an Alibi by Ashley Elston. On Goodreads, this is rated 3.87 stars. It fits in with the fact that I actually need to read this for my book club that I'm attending this coming Sunday. So I'm pretty sure I'll get through this one super fast, and I'll give updates once I'm halfway through. The highest rated book on my TBR is actually Babel by RF Quang, and this was rated on Goodreads a 4.14 stars. I honestly predict it will probably be a 4-star for myself. It's dark academia. It takes place in the 1800s. I just feel like I don't read books like this often, but I'm intrigued. I'm excited to jump in this one and see what my overall thoughts are. Now that we talked about the 2 books I will be reading in this vlog, let's go ahead and jump into the reading portion. I look kind of like a mess. It is like almost 1 o'clock in the morning, and I've made it about halfway through Anatomy of an Alibi. This book takes place in Louisiana, and we're following multiple characters after a character is killed. And let's just say this character has a sketchy past, and you're not too sure who alived this character. You're kind of like following what happened before the alibi and then after the alibi. This character is not only a lawyer but also married to a woman whose family is like wealthy but has gained their wealth in unlawful ways. And let's just say they're just bad people, privileged people with power, and they get away with a lot of things. We kind of walk through them uncovering a lot of this and kind of the purpose behind the actual plot of the book and the main characters of the book. I'm reading this and I'm just like conflicted because the person who was unalived is not a good person, or maybe he was and he was just put into a very shitty position, but that doesn't justify his actions and who he turned out to be. Like, part of me is like, you had a choice in this situation and you chose wrong, but like, did he really have a choice when someone has power over you to ruin your life, even unalive you and get away with it? I don't know. Those are my initial thoughts halfway through. Anyways, I'm gonna keep going. When Hank points it out, feeling a little less bad for Ben. Okay, I'm back with an update. I went ahead and finished Anatomy of an Alibi. 1 book down. Goodreads rated this a 3.875 star. My rating for the book overall was a 3.5. I think overall the plot was definitely bingeable, and having multiple perspectives only added to the experience of this. Like, you felt like you were there uncovering things with our characters. I found myself like getting irritated with multiple people, but I think that was purposeful. Like, you have people who have been in positions of power that have used and abused their power and use it for their own personal gain. And then you have someone who kind of is a part of that family and knows that privilege comes with a price, but still wants the stability and the economic gain you receive from holding power. So I think I struggled with one of our main characters in that aspect. And I was like really rooting for our other female main character, Aubrey, and like her happy ending, because she just kind of got like the shit end of a stick. Really liked her story. I think they tied it up with a nice little bow at the end. You're not really left with many questions. If anything, you're kind of like satisfied. I think I would have liked if there was a little bit more of an open-ended scenario of the book, but that's just me, and usually I'm not like that. I almost felt like this was too cleaned up. I think the justice that was provided for multiple parties at the end of this book, it leaves you questioning your own morals and ethics. I think that was the point of this story, to be completely honest. I don't think anyone in this book was completely innocent, but that's what made this all the more entertaining. Okay, now I will be starting Babel by RF Quang. Wish me luck. I'm a little afraid. Just a reminder that this on Goodreads is rated a 4.14 star. My prediction is that I'll rate it probably near a 4 star as well. So let's see. Hey guys, so I'm back with my update. I made it through the whole entire book, and if you're wondering how long it took me, 2 months. Yeah, Babel took me 2 months. The star rating on Goodreads was a 4.14 star. I think my prediction, I said it would be a 4 star. At the ending of this book, I was destroyed. I don't know how to put it any other words. I'm not gonna do any spoilers, so don't worry if you haven't read Babel yet. I mean, this book was an emotional roller coaster. It is a story about our main character, Robin, who is from Canton, China, and he is 11 when the story starts, I believe. Pretty sure he's 11, and his mother was dying of a disease, and basically everyone in his like town was, because it was kind of like a plague that took over in Canton, and you're kind of introduced to him on his deathbed when a strange white man comes in and basically saves him. And that's how the story starts. And from there you follow Robin on his journey from moving from Canton to England, and his educational journey with Professor Babel. And it's a lot. I really don't know how to say it without like going down a rabbit hole of everything I felt while reading this book. There is 5 books in this one book, and you follow Robin through his early years while he's living with Professor Babel and is under his guardianship, and he's basically taken him under his wing so that he could eventually go to Oxford and study at Babel, which is the Translation Institute, and help with silver working translation. And silver working is kind of like the magical element in this book. Silver working is kind of how London or the UK runs. I had moments of anger, moments of confusion, understanding, sadness, uncomfort. Like I was uncomfy with some of the topics, but I honestly think that was the purpose of how this book was written. And all the other characters you're introduced to while Robin is at Babel, you're in for a ride. My emotions were all over the place, and there was a lot to relate to when it came to Robin as a character, as a person of color, and kind of navigating high society or elite society when you are not a part of the majority, and kind of witnessing the racism and sexism and classism in Babel in the 1800s. It was a lot. There was a lot going on in this book. It was very heavy read, but such a necessary read. I think I predicted I'd rate this book a 4-star, at least very close to the Goodreads rating, and I actually ended up rating this book a 5-star. I will show you a few little clips of me reacting to the ending of Babel. Don't worry, there's no spoilers. I was devastated, to say the least. Devastated is an understatement. And if you read anything of RF Quang's writing, from my understanding, that's her style. That is her style. She does not write to give you a happy ending. She writes to make you feel something. Moment of realization. I feel like she writes her books from that perspective, and that, life is not rainbows and sunshines and gumdrops, but there was a lot to take from this story. It was a beautiful story. There was a lot of things I could really relate to when it came to some of our main characters in the book, because we have Robin, we have Remy, we have Victoria, and we have other characters in the book that I will just kind of let you experience for yourself. And you feel a lot. And I think that was another reason this book took me 2 months to read, is that I would need breaks in between. And then the other part was I didn't want to rush. Once I made it halfway through this book, I was like, wow, there's a lot to take from this book. And it's not a book I just wanted to just absorb and then kind of move on. I wanted to remember the story and understand the characters and really care for the message, and I feel like I did. I gave it a 5-star. Anyways, this vlog took a lot longer than I anticipated, but maybe I should have thought about that when I was picking up my first RF Quang book, that this could be a very long read for me. I don't regret it. I loved every second. Loved, enjoyed. Those feel like the wrong words for this kind of book, but nonetheless, a very good read. I could honestly see this being a required reading in school. We should be reading this in high school. This is what we need to be reading when we're having required books to read. I think there's a lot to take from a book like this. That is the end of this vlog. I think overall my ratings were fairly close for both books I read in this vlog. I read Anatomy of an Alibi by Elston, I believe. And I think my rating was quite close at this very moment. I can't remember what I rated it, but I'm pretty sure I mentioned it in this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts. Have you read these books? Are you gonna? And like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.